Welcome to today's 5 on 5. I'm Grace Smith, and I'm joined by local businesswoman and Republican gubernatorial candidate Jessica Gomez. Jessica, thank you so much for making time to talk with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, you run a local tech company. You're a mother of 2. You've never held public office, plus you live in rural Oregon. How are you mounting this statewide campaign?
Yeah, I think those are actually advantages, given what we've had in the past. We've had leaders that have been in the Senate, in the legislature for 25 years. They get into these leadership positions, and the results are really not what our state needs.
Now, there's a very crowded field of Republicans seeking the party's nomination this spring. What makes you different from your competitors?
Well, I'm totally different. I have a different background, different part of the state. I'm really looking at what policies are going to be the best for where we need to go in the future. I'm really forward thinking. And I think a lot of the candidates right now are just focused on the things that are going wrong in the state. And I really choose to look at how do we do better? How do we create an environment that empowers people?
Now, you mentioned living in a different part of the state. How does living in a more rural part of Oregon or just a different part of Oregon, how is that an asset to you?
Well, if you look at what we're working through right now, and in many cases our politics are divided by urban and rural, and I think there's a big advantage of having somebody who understands both, which I've lived in urban areas, and I've also lived in rural Oregon, and you know, that is something that I think we really need. We need that voice at the table because so much of our state feels ignored right now.
Now, you're spending a lot of time traveling the state, trying to get your message out. What concerns are you hearing?
You know, people are feeling angry, they're feeling frustrated, they're feeling hopeless about the overall direction of the state. If you think about the unsheltered homelessness issue, you think about rising inflation. What we're seeing at the gas pump is just unbelievable. And for families, that really impacts their ability to live the life that they want. So we're hearing a lot about that. Hearing from business owners, issues around workforce, water, as you know, we head into the warmer months. Looks like we're going to have another drought, so that's a big concern for ranchers and farmers and really all people throughout our state.
Now, I know you mentioned the drought. What responsibility does the state have for our bad wildfires each summer, and how would you fix it as governor?
You know, I look at water policy as something that really needs to originate from the local communities, right? Each of our communities, each of our regions have their own unique set of challenges, of barriers when it comes to water usage. I would say overall for our state, we need more storage and we need to modernize our water infrastructure. We haven't worked on that part of our infrastructure in a long time.
All right, Jessica, thank you. We'll be right back with some more questions after this break. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. We're joined today by gubernatorial candidate Jessica Gomez. Now, you've previously mentioned that you were homeless as a teen. How would you help solve the state's homeless crisis?
The model I'm looking at is modeled after elderly care. And in elderly care, you have 3 levels. You have a secure portion of the facility, you have assisted living, and you have independent living. We need to do that for our unsheltered homeless and start with the most secure level of care, because really the unsheltered homelessness issues that we're seeing are a symptom of a much deeper issue rooted in drug addiction and mental health. And what we're doing right now is absolutely nothing. I'll tell you really from my experience and being out in the community that delivering sandwiches and coats are okay, but we're actually enabling people to continue living like this, and it's inhumane what we've been doing.
Now, we previously mentioned the wide field of Republican opponents that you're up against. It includes former lawmakers, even a previous gubernatorial candidate. Why are you the best Republican candidate to take on Democrats this fall?
Well, I think Oregon needs a CEO and a leader who will deliver back to Oregonians the value that they were paying for with their tax dollars. We spend a lot of money in our state, and we are not getting a return on investment. So the very first thing that a governor needs to do, and I'll do this because I have experience in building those teams, is really look at all of the state agencies and put the best people in charge of those agencies and then task them to streamline the work and begin delivering that value back to people. The way we come to the table really matters at state government, right? We should be going to our business owners and our community saying, how can we best serve you? And right now, we have some really big challenges with just doing the basics, and that needs to stop.
Now, you are a former Democrat. What do you have to say to Republicans who may not think that you're conservative enough or hold similar thoughts and ideals?
You know, I am all for it. You are a Democrat and want to register Republican. Let's do it. We need much more. We need a lot more Republicans to join our party. We need to be a party that's open and that comes to the table with arms open and says, look, what the one-party rule has done in this state is not healthy for anyone. Come join us. And together we can restore a lot of the things that were really great about Oregon.
Now, I think you started to touch on it a little bit there, but how does being a former Democrat help you in this primary race and possibly even beyond?
Well, I think, you know, it's important not to be stuck so much in pure ideology, which is now what's happening on the far left side of the aisle, right? We are making policy based on that ideology, based on people who are in activism and stuck in that, and there are many single issues that are coming to play. And what happens is you really start to see policies that don't make sense for everyday life. And that's what we've got to get back to. We've got to get back to practical policies, put them in place, again, so we can have a state that has the ability to grow and thrive, people in it can do what they need to do and support their families and have the kind of life that Oregonians should have in our state.
All right, Jessica. Well, thank you again so much for your time today and sitting down with us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.